Hi everyone, it's Cole Braithwaite coming to again with another video. Wanted to answer a question that I typically get from a lot of owners that we work with on when is the best time to sell their asset. Now, typically what we find is when consulting with owners and providing them valuations on their properties, as well as determining when the best time in the market is to begin to list their property, where they're going to get the most traction, what times of the year is best important, what times should they avoid. It was an interesting question that I periodically get, and I thought, you know what, why don't I put together some of the statistics on it so that I can see quantitatively exactly when the best time is based on the numbers. So what I've put together here is I've taken a look at the retail assets over the last 3 years or 2 to 3 years in the GTA with sale prices over 2 million, as well as I've done the same thing with industrial properties, which also share a similar sort of process. So what we'll notice is that in Q1, you will notice that there's about 193 transactions that have occurred throughout the GTA. I've broken them down also by region so you can see how they play out. But on an average and a total, the market operates roughly in the same sort of fashion. So in Q1, you're going to get about 193 transactions, Q2, 194, Q3, 219, and Q4, 227. Now, what this means and how I like to analyze the data is what you'll notice is that towards the end of the year, you'll start to see a lot of transactions actually occurring. Majority of all the transactions occur in Q3 and Q4. Now, what this means is that the typical length of a transaction in order for it to occur, what these are showing here is the closing dates of those sales and those transactions, which means that prior to the closing date, there's probably another 60 to 90 days, as well as there was a due diligence period and then time listed on the market. So it's rough and it's safe to assume that majority of the transactions that are closing in Q3 and Q4 are occurring in previous quarters. So if you were to list your property in Q2, chances are it's going to close in Q3, and the same thing with Q3. Listing it in Q3 will close in Q4. So having majority of the transactions occurring towards the end of the year means that the best time probably to list with the most amount of activity is roughly within Q2 or Q3. So I would say anywhere from March to about August is probably the best times, with the winter times starting in November, just due to the holiday season and the slowdown period during that time, tends to not see as many transactions close, thus seeing how Q1 typically has the least amount of transactions occurring because the previous quarter there wasn't as much activity. If we take a look at the industrial properties now, I'll just try to scroll down here. Industrial properties, what we'll notice is that we'll still see the similar transaction or the same flow of transactions that are occurring. Q1, you saw 260, Q2, 230, and Q3 271, and Q4 328. So similarly, towards the end of the year is when you see a lot more of the transactions, which then thus would say for industrial properties also in the GTA, it's probably the best time to list anywhere from March to August, Q1 to Q3, and anticipate closings towards the end of the year. So I just wanted to share with you this quick video just outlining some information. I've included this in the email that you have here. So if you'd like to get more details on it or just investigate it a little bit more for yourself, you can. And if you have any questions, you can let me know. But I thought this was interesting. This way, it gets you thinking around timing wise when you want a time to list your assets and when's the optimal time to really get the most amount of activities and they generate the most amount of sale price or potentially the highest sale price during those times. If you have any questions or anything specific on your asset, please reach out to me. I look forward to being in touch with you. And until next time, take care.